Sorry, guys, I've been away for about 3 or 4 days, and that's because it's been an interesting and activity filled week, shall we say, for me. There's been the Hilton Wedding Fair, and that was on the 30th, yeah, on the 30th of November. And before that, there was a baby dedication and baptism, and then what else? A pre-wedding shoot. What else? A birthday shoot. Yeah, so it was an interesting and work-filled week for me, which is good because I'm sure that there are a lot of we wedding industry professionals who haven't been able to say that in the near recent history, especially with what has been going on regarding COVID. Okay, so um, since I've been away, I figured there are a few things I would like to riff on before we get back to the ideas that we were discussing. That's the case studies. Yes, the case studies for G Power. So before we resume on that, I just wanted to mention a few things. The Hilton Wedding Fair, I think, was a resounding success, especially on the first day. It held on a Sunday and on a Monday, although a few of us vendors have been able to convince the organizers, that's the management at Hilton Hotel, that we need to prioritize weekends for these sorts of things. The reason why they picked a weekday was because they didn't have a proper understanding about the essence of the fair. They figured that the part of the essence of the wedding fair was also the networking opportunities for wedding vendors. So they figured they put it on a weekday and wedding vendors will get to network. But a bunch of folks were able to point out quite quickly that we wedding vendors, we network with each other all the time. So the main point of showing up for a wedding fair was actually to see how many brides and grooms, how many customers and net new business that we can get. And so they tried out this Sunday thing, and the Sunday part of the fair was absolutely fantastic. I'm not a very pushy guy when it comes to these sorts of things, and so relying on foot traffic, people who just came by my table, we got close to, I think, 15 or 16 prospects on the first day that we're going to speak with. Of course, ultimately, whether this turns out to be a profitable event or not is going to depend on my own follow up and my cadence, my process for running through these leads, qualifying them, finding out who is serious, what the problems are, and then getting them to commit, getting them to take action. So let's use this as another case study of sorts about how one should prosecute wedding fairs. Because I know that there are a lot of you out there, wedding vendors, who think that bridal fairs are a waste of time. In fact, there are some people who are invited who didn't show up precisely because of that reason, that they think wedding fairs are a waste of time. So let's use my experience from this wedding fair. You guys can live vicariously through me for those of you who think it's an absolute waste of time. So I'll keep you guys posted as I work through my list, the highs and the lows, the promises, the near misses. I'll walk you guys through everything. And then hopefully, at the end of the process, looking at things through my own eyes, I guess you'll be able to make an informed decision as to whether a wedding fair is a good use of your time or not. So that for those of you who are based in Abuja, Lagos, and Port Harcourt, those are the major cities where we have some activity going on for wedding fairs. We've got Hilton, Brides and Babies, the Nigerian Wedding Expo, the makeup and something wedding fair, and I think food expo. So yes, they run in these major cities. So yeah, you'll be able to basically just live through me, see if there's any use for these sorts of things, and then give it a try. Well, in my own opinion, I think you're better off just giving it a try. Anyway, let me not, what will I say? Let me not prejudice the direction of our little experiment. So let's just take it one day at a time and see how it goes. So I think the wedding fair was good as far as turnout is concerned, and so that was very good, very good. And Yes. What else? Okay, yes, good friends. I had my friend Tibi with me over at the stand. She's a former wedding photographer who is now into doing portraits, and she does really, really, really lovely work. So Tibi was there to support me because I couldn't be at the stand I couldn't be at the stand for the whole day. So Tibi was there to cover for me while I had to go and take care of a few things and then get back to the stand. And it just got me thinking about how a lot of us do this are in this wedding business, but we forget to acknowledge and give recognition to our good friends who support our hustle and who are there for times like this to help us pick up on slack and things of that nature. So this is to say thank you very much for your support, TB, not just for the wedding fair, but for other times when you lend moral support, words of encouragement, and things like that. And so, as a general, I'm called to the rest of you to remember to say thank you to your very good friends who try to help you get to the promised land. And now, the final thing that I'm going to riff on, also from the wedding fair, are other vendors who are going around trying to promote different kinds of wedding business apps and networks and things of that nature. In coming up with this podcast, to be honest, when I started the podcast, what I had in mind were, the usual photographers, makeup artists, cake people, pyrotechnics, the usual. But I totally forgot that there are people who are not directly in the business, but kind of related in an ancillary way. People who let's just say people who perform the support functions, like the printers and things like that. And that also extends to people who run all these wedding apps and wedding networking sites and things of that nature. So as usual, as is the usual tradition when these things are happening, there's always that guy who shows up and who has this cool idea about the app that if all you wedding photographers will just jump on it, it's going to create a lot of business for you guys. And this is the app, and this is what it looks like, and it's really cool, and it does this and it does that, and there's no HTML5, so your photos are going to show up real well. And I promise you, just sign up. It's going to drive good business for you guys. It's going to be good money, blah blah blah, and all that jazz. And I'd like to apologize for the way that I spoke to the last fellow. It's just that he kept going on and on. I was trying to give him some useful business insight, in my own opinion, and then some couple showed up, and I just said, one moment please, because of course I had to take care and handle some business because people were coming to make inquiries. And I forgot to get back to him. By the time I remembered, he had left, and I think he had moved on to another stand. So just in case the fellow happens to listen to this podcast episode, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be curt, but I had to I had to attend to business. So there are other people like that who listen to this podcast, and I think I also will start paying attention to them, and maybe from today I'll also start giving them some, what will I say, useful business tidbits that I think can help. Okay, now the whole thing about these apps and the sites and things like that is they all are built around the idea of the network effect. So the only way that these things work is if a whole bunch of people are already on it in the first place. So before you come up to wedding expos to come and meet me or wedding planners or all these other people, you need to have already tried to show to establish your use case scenario. So the wedding fair shouldn't be the first place where you're going to talk to people about it. You should have already have pre-signed a couple of people on it before you get to the wedding fair, before you start trying to make the sales pitch to get the rest of us jumping on the app. And then another thing that folks who are promoting these apps fail to understand is that these apps and these websites, they are absolutely of no value to us if our brides and grooms, if our customers are not on it. So you also need to be able to back it up with data to show that the brides and grooms are there. So the reason why people bother about Bella Niger and what's it called? Say African weddings, and all these people with their websites, and for those that do have apps, their apps. So the reason why they're a big hit with wedding planners is because we can see activity from the Instagram page or from the website inquiries that we receive from those links and things like that. We can see that actual brides and grooms are there, and that's why people flock all over them. So these are some of the use case scenarios that you have to cure before you come for the wedding fair, because it doesn't matter how cool the app is. If the app looks very cool and is real sleek and is real nice, and I'm not really into the tech side of things, but people keep going on about how, oh, this one is based on HTML5 or is based on no flash or based on the average wedding planner or wedding photographer doesn't know about HTML and Flash and JavaScript and all that fancy stuff. So it doesn't matter how pretty or how efficient it looks if there are no brides and grooms on it. And quite frankly, I'm not going to bother signing up for another one of these things that doesn't have a proven track record behind it. Because newsflash, at every single wedding fair that I attend in Abuja, there are on average like 4 or 5 of these guys who are running around with these ideas, and it's always the same. And guess what? In March next year, we're going to have the Hilton Wedding Fair. There's also going to be the hopefully brides and babies will be back in the scheme of things, and maybe next year will be the year that the African bridal fair will also be revived. But guess what? I am also going to run into 4 to 5 people a piece at each fair. So let's say that'll be 15 to 20 guys in the month of March of 2021 who will all have the same idea. And it basically is the same idea. Yes, you guys give the app a different title, a different color scheme, a different focus, but it's essentially the same idea. And the reason why it's not going to work, it's not going to take off, it's because you guys are not validating your test case scenario. So that's what the focus needs to be on. Before you get brides and grooms, before you get wedding vendors on it, you have to show that you're already generating traffic and attention from regular folks, because I'm not going to sign up on one of these platforms and then just crickets. So you need to find a way to validate your the use case scenarios on these things. Now, this is one way that you can go about it for those of you who still think you have a good idea with these apps and you want to see it through. Now, there are these guys on the internet. I think they're called VConnect. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Please don't quote me on that. But I think they're called VConnect. And I've gotten lots of inquiries from them in the past. That's people who use their website and who now, send a message with the links that they have. Send a message through me, to me, to the vendor. And you have people asking about price and things like that. Now, these fellows, the VConnect people, they're some sort of online business directory. Now, when they get started, they didn't go the usual route. They didn't go around trying to call up wedding planners to see if we're interested in getting on the platform. There's something that they did which I thought was really interesting. They created their site, they created the app, they created everything, and then they went and what they did was they auto-populated all the information. So nobody reached out to me saying, Ayede Film and Photography, come and be on this site. They just created a profile automatically for Ayede Film and Photography. I don't know how they got all my details, but they put everything there. Of course, they don't have sample photos, but I think they linked to because if you do a search for a business in Google, some images show up. So I think they're able to get access to some of those images. So they auto-populated the whole thing. And of course, I had no idea that this was going on. So the first time that I heard about them was because someone Googled Abuja wedding photographers, something like that, and the reason why they found me was through their I think it's VConnect. I really should confirm and let you guys know. They found me through the VConnect listing, and so now I'm aware of them. Now I know that there is some value to this thing, because there is the odd inquiry that I get every now and then through them. And I've noticed that on the profile that they created, they have a link there, something which says, are you so, 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 and so? Claim this business profile in 3 easy steps, or something like that. So that's a way that you can go ahead to validate the one of your test case scenarios. I'm not a business consultant, so I can't think of creative ways about how to do this, but that is one really interesting way that I think you can use to validate your idea. So think about it. Wedding vendors are there, they're minding their business, and then once in a while they keep getting this ping. So you let's say you want your own app to be called Power Weddings, so powerweddings.com, and you have your Power Wedding app, and so I'm there, I'm minding my business. Instead of you coming up to me at the wedding shows or calling me out of the blue, I'm just minding my business. And then in the month of March 2021, I get, let's say, 15 calls, and then 5 of them are brides that say they found my information from an app called powerweddings.com. Of course, I'll be interested and I'll be curious. You have already demonstrated some value right from the get, so that eventually, when you do get in touch, I will. The odds of me and other of our colleagues in the wedding industry being interested in giving it a shot, the odds go up because it has demonstrated some value. Now I know that this looks like some long jump. It sounds like it's plenty of work to do, but if you look at the successes in this space, people in other industries, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever, the formula is always the same. These things are based on network effects, and so it's not really about how you can go on and about how you can go on and toast people onto getting onto the app or the site, or how fly it is. It's about getting the first set of use case scenarios and networks going, and then eventually people pile on. So the reason why business is piled on for Instagram and piled on for Facebook much later on, because remember in the early days for Facebook, I think it was college students in America that they had on. So it was college students, later on opening to regular folk, and it was only after that buzz got going that businesses now started trying to jump on the bandwagon. So businesses are interested in selling to regular folks, and so you want the businesses to be on your app, on your social network, your business network, whatever it is. Get the regular folks there first. So find ways of getting brides and grooms there. I really don't know how to do that. Maybe use a content marketing strategy. You have this app up, and in the beginning it has lots of educational stuff for brides and grooms, lots of useful resources, and then you go ahead and auto-populate all the business directories, so it looks like it's a veritable source of information for the brides and the grooms. And then once you're able to demonstrate that you have x number of 100 brides, 1,000 grooms, whatever, then getting people to sign up later on would be might be easier. And forgive me if in talking about this I haven't been very articulate. Like I said, I'm not a business consultant, so coming up with these ideas is not really my forte. But bottom line is, there are lots of you guys that have this idea out there, and making this thing work is not going to be about how slick the app is. It's not going to be about how solid the business name is, and it's not going to be about the all the tech wizardry and all the gishbound that is behind it. That is not what is going to make these things work. If you want to make it work, your use case scenarios, your use case scenarios. That's it. If you want vendors to be on this thing, you need to be able to show them that actual brides and grooms are already there, and you also need to show them. It also needs to show value to them before you even have that conversation. So I haven't verified my business profile with VConnect yet because I'm still paying attention. I'm still checking. I like that a few inquiries come in. I don't like the quality of inquiries that I get from that business listing, but tomorrow, if the quality of the inquiries were going to change, I would claim that business listing in a heartbeat, because of course, as I say, who no like better thing. If it's good and it's working, I'll jump on it. If not, I'd rather not just look for one more thing that is going to waste my time, because there are lots of things that we're involved in trying to build a business here. And well, anyway, I guess I've gone on too much of a rant. So, bottom line is, all you guys who keep coming around with this business app idea, it's a good idea. Keep at it. But I really think that these are the ways that you're going to succeed with the idea. So, thank you very much for listening to the Sales for the Nigerian Wedding Industry podcast. I'm your host, Abuja-based event and wedding photographer Tavishima Ayede. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I really appreciate that you guys make time out to listen each time I put up a recording. So I will catch you guys on the next episode. And the next episode we will resume our G-Power case studies about how to find customers who can afford us. And I think the next set of things that we're going to look at will be concrete examples of questions that we can have in our questioning framework to be sure that we're speaking to the right people and to be sure that money isn't an object. So thank you very much, guys, for listening. I'll catch you at the next recording. Have a wonderful day.